The last few days we've been working on multiplication, and this will be lesson 2.6 and 2.7 in their Go Math books. In lesson 2.6 we were working on multiplying with expanded form. And so my first example is going to be 4 times 29. And so I'm going to expand my 29, and I'm going to ask what is a 2 really worth, and the kids would say 20. And then the 9 is only worth 9. And then I'm going to take my 4 and place it on the other side, and I'm going to be multiplying each using the expanded form. So I ask, well, what's 4 times 2? I know that's 8, and then I ask the students, how many zeros do you see in the factors 4 and 20? And they'll say 1. Then you just multiply 4 times 9, and that would be 36. And we call these partial products in the middle here. And so I'm going to add the partial products together. Some of the kids can do mental math, but if they struggle a little bit with that, I encourage them to write it out so they get the correct product. So 0 plus 6 is 6, and then 8 plus 3 is 11. So my final product is 116. Another example with a 2-digit times a 2-digit. I ask the students, what is the 3 really worth? It's worth 30. What is your 6 worth? 6. And then we'll multiply by the value of the 5, which is really 50. And then the value of the 7 is just 7. So I start with 30 times 50. And I know 3 times 5, my basic fact, is 15. How many zeros do you see with 50 and 30? I see 2. Then move over to 30 times 7. I know 3 times 7 is 21. And then how many zeros are there with 30 and 7? I see 1. Move down to 6 times 50. The basic fact is 6 times 5, which is 30. How many zeros are there between 6 and 50? I see 1. And then my last multiplication problem is 6 times 7, and that's 42. Now, you could add each of these individually over here on the right-hand side, but I like to try to group them together to make it easier to add. So mentally, I can see that 1,500 added to 210 is 1,710. And then I have 342, and I know I could put those together as 342. My final product then I add to finish. Regroup if you need to. And my final product for this one is 2,052. In the next lesson, we did partial product, which is very, very similar to lesson 2.6, but we're just not using the visual boxes to help us. We're going to be thinking a little bit more in our head. And so for this one, I'm starting with the largest value with my top factor, and I know that the 2 is really worth 20. So I ask the students, how many zeros are in 20? And they'll say, well, there's 1. Okay, well, the basic fact is 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. We're done with the 2, so I cross it out. My next one, what's my 9 really worth? Well, it's just worth 9. So you multiply 4 times 9, and that's 36. You add it to again get 116. Feel free to go back in the video to see the difference between these two strategies, but you'll notice that this partial product and this are in those boxes as well. Some kids just don't need the visual aid to help them. Another example of making it a little bit more challenging is taking a 3-digit number times a 2-digit number. I'm sorry, a 1-digit number. Again, starting with the largest value, what's my 3 really worth? Well, it's worth 300. How many zeros are in 300? 2. What is 4 times 3? 12. And we're done with the 3 in the hundreds place. I have the 7, which is really worth 70. How many zeros are in 70? 1. What's 4 times 7? 28. My last one, what's my 8 worth? It's just worth 8, so 4 times 8 is 32. You add all of those partial products, regroup if you need to, and get your final product of 1,512. Now it's your turn, kids. If you want to turn this in tomorrow for extra credit, that would be awesome. Feel free to use whichever strategy you would like. If you can do partial products, that's great. But if you need to draw a box, please remember that on the top one, it would be 9 on the side, and then you would be breaking apart 36. Okay, on the bottom you would need 3 boxes if you're going to do the expanded form, so it'd be 4, and then you need to expand 592. Okay, hopefully this helps. Good luck.